The streetlights cast long shadows across South Shore Drive as Staff Sergeant Malik Henderson's taxi eased to a stop in front of his red brick, two-story house. It was 2:17 a.m. on a muggy July morning, and the neighborhood was hauntingly quiet. After 15 months deployed in Afghanistan, all Malik wanted was to surprise his wife Keisha and feel her in his arms again. He wasn't supposed to return for another 3 weeks. This early homecoming was his anniversary gift. 10 years married, and he'd picked out something special, a white gold necklace, custom ordered from Dubai, now resting in his duffel bag beside his dog tags and dusty fatigues. The taxi driver, an elderly man named Mr. Otis, helped unload his bags. "Welcome home, soldier," Otis said, waving away the tip Malik tried to press into his hand. "Bet your family's thrilled to have you back." Malik smiled, thinking of Keisha's face when she'd see him. "They don't know I'm coming. Wanted to surprise them." Otis nodded and drove off into the night. Malik stood still for a moment, staring at his house. Something felt off. A sleek black Chrysler 300 with tinted windows and custom rims was parked out front. He didn't recognize it. Probably a neighbor's new car, he thought, but a knot twisted in his stomach. The house was dark, except for a faint yellow glow from the upstairs bedroom window. The porch light, something Keisha always left on, was off. As he moved closer, more things began to feel wrong. The garden, which Keisha kept pristine, looked wild and neglected. Empty beer bottles sat along the porch railing. Quietly unlocking the front door, Malik stepped inside. The living room smelled strange, an unfamiliar cologne mixed with the sharp funk of weed. Their wedding photo, which had always sat on the entry table, was now face down. Then he heard it, muffled noises drifting from upstairs. His military instincts kicked in. He set down his bags silently and moved up the staircase with practiced caution, each step precise, each breath controlled. The sounds grew clearer, rhythmic creaking, heavy breathing, a low grunt. The master bedroom door was closed, but not fully latched. Yellow light spilled from the crack, along with the unmistakable sounds of sex. Malik's world tilted, but his body remained composed, calm, efficient, alive, even in betrayal. He pushed the door open. The image hit him in fragments. Tangled sheets, brown limbs wrapped tight, Keisha's legs clinging to another man's waist. Their wedding portrait sat on the nightstand like a silent witness. Time froze. Then Keisha screamed. The man, tall, muscular, with dreadlocks and a tribal tattoo stretched across his back, rolled off and reached for something on the floor. Under the lamplight, metal glinted. A gun. Malik moved fast, faster than thought. He crossed the room in 2 long strides, grabbed the man's wrist, and drove his fist into his throat. The gun fell and skidded under the bed. What followed was chaos. Keisha screaming, the man gasping and swinging. They struggled across the room. Blood smeared on the white walls. The gun somewhere beneath them. Malik's hand found it. The man lunged. 2 shots rang out. Then silence. Downstairs, Keisha Henderson had been staring at her bathroom mirror, carefully applying her MAC Ruby Woo lipstick. At 32, she still turned heads. Gym sessions kept her body tight, and she knew how to dress it. Tonight, in a fitted red dress that clung to every curve. Her phone buzzed. A message from Jaleel, "Can't wait to see you tonight, baby." Philip was supposed to be gone another 3 weeks. She replied quickly, "All clear, come after 9. Keisha stared at her reflection. Guilt twisted in her stomach like a knife. She and Malik had been high school sweethearts, married after graduation. He enlisted to give them a better life. She had supported him. But over the years, deployment stretched longer and love faded into loneliness. Then Jaleel Williams had walked into her life 6 months ago at the salon where she worked. He was everything Malik wasn't. Present, spontaneous, dangerous in a way that thrilled her. What started as innocent flirting became drinks, then secrets, then an addiction. Her phone buzzed again. FaceTime. Malik's tired face filled the screen, dust from the Afghan desert still clinging to his uniform. "Hey, baby." "Hey," she forced a smile. "How are you? Missing you like crazy. 3 more weeks feels like forever, but I got something special planned for our anniversary." "Can't wait," She lied, her stomach churning. They talked about small things, her work at the salon, avoiding any mention of Jalil, who'd become a regular customer just to see her. "I love you," Malik said. "Love you too." The words tasted like ash in her mouth. Later that afternoon, her co-worker Shanice gave her a sharp look while mixing hair dye. "Girl, you're playing with fire. Jalil fine, yeah, but he got a record. Malik, that man loves you for real." I know, Keisha sighed. "It just happened. Now I can't stop." "Can't stop gonna get somebody killed," Shanice muttered. By evening, Keisha had pushed the warnings aside. She ordered Malik's favorite from Harold's Chicken and let the delivery guy think it was for her husband. Changed the sheets, lit candles, poured 2 glasses of wine. At 9:15, Jalil's black Chrysler 300 pulled up. He used the key she gave him last month. He looked like temptation in dark jeans and a tight black tee that hugged his frame. "Damn, baby," he said, pulling her close. "You trying to kill me in that dress?" They barely made it up the stairs. Jalil had brought weed and more wine. They drank, smoked, made love, talked, made love again. Around midnight, Jalil asked, "You ever gonna leave him?" "It's complicated," she said. "The house is in his name. Everything I got is tied to him." "I got money," Jalil said. "Been doing good with my business." They both knew his business wasn't all the way legal. "Just give me time," she said, kissing him to quiet the questions. Neither of them heard the taxi pull up or the front door ease open. Music played low from the Bluetooth speaker. When the bedroom door swung open, their world exploded. Blood pooled on the hardwood floor, seeping between the cracks. 2 bodies lay motionless. Jalil, face down, 2 holes in his chest. Keisha, slumped against the wall, a stray bullet having torn through Jalil and lodged in her shoulder. Malik stood at the center of the chaos, the pistol still warm in his grip. His training had carried him through the fight, but now the soldier was gone. Only a broken man remained, staring at the wreckage of his life. He checked Jalil's pulse, nothing, then turned to Keisha. She was conscious but fading fast. "Malik," she whispered, her red dress darkening with blood. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." He sprang into action, grabbing towels from the bathroom. He pressed them to her wound. "Don't talk. Help's coming." But it wasn't. His phone was still in his duffel bag downstairs. And in this part of Chicago, people didn't rush to call 911 when they heard gunshots. As if on cue, police sirens howled in the distance, getting closer. "I didn't mean," Keisha tried to speak again. "Shut up," Malik said softly. "Just shut up." The siren stopped outside. Car door slammed. Flashlights scanned the windows. "Chicago police. Open up." Malik placed a gun on the floor, raised his hands, and walked downstairs. He opened the door to 4 officers with weapons drawn. "Don't move. Hands where we can see them." "I'm Staff Sergeant Malik Henderson," he said calmly. "This is my house. 2 people are upstairs. 1 is dead. My wife needs medical attention." They cuffed him anyway. Standard procedure. As he was led to the squad car, neighbors began filing out with phones recording. Ms. Jenkins, from next door, stood on her porch in a nightgown, shaking her head. "That poor boy," she muttered. "Fought for his country. Just come home to this mess." The next few hours passed in a blur. The detective questioning Malik at the precinct was a tall, middle-aged black man named Detective Reggie Williams. No relation to Jalil, he clarified early on. "Walk me through it again," Williams said, setting a voice recorder between them on the metal table. Malik told it straight. The surprise return, the unfamiliar car, the sounds upstairs, the gun under the bed, self-defense. His court-appointed attorney, Patricia Morris, was firm. "My client is a decorated combat veteran who came home to find armed intruders in his house." "One intruder," Detective Williams corrected. "The other victim was his wife, who willingly allowed her lover inside." "Still qualifies as a home invasion," Morris countered. He reacted within his rights. Across town at Chicago Med, Keisha Henderson was in recovery after surgery to remove the bullet lodged in her shoulder. Her parents, Calvin and Regina Morrison, sat outside her hospital room, her mother in tears, her father tight-lipped, wearing the same disapproving expression he'd carried since the day Keisha married Malik. They avoided the cameras gathering outside the ER. By morning, the story had gone viral. Soldier comes home to nightmare. War hero walks in on wife's affair, shoots lover dead, love and betrayal in Bronzeville. Social media took off like wildfire. He served the country. She served the streets. Hashtag Team Malik all day. 2 people shot over cheating? That's not self-defense. You don't mess with a military man's wife. Period. But none of it reached Malik. Sitting alone in his holding cell, he stared blankly at the wall, the memory of that night looping endlessly. When had it all started falling apart? Was it during his final deployment? Or had the signs always been there, waiting to be seen? Back at Area Central, Detective Williams sifted through case files and crime scene photos. At first, it seemed like a classic crime of passion, but something wasn't adding up. Jaleel Williams had a record, drug charges, assault, suspected gang ties to the vice lords, but he'd been clean for the past 5 years. His business, a chain of successful car washes, looked legitimate. The handgun found at the scene was legally registered to him. Then Officer Tasha Thompson entered the office. "You'll want to see this," she said, handing over transcripts from Keisha's phone. Hundreds of texts between her and Jaleel stretched back 8 months. But there was more. Messages to a burner phone discussing life insurance policies and Malik's deployment schedule. "There's another thing," Thompson added. "Remember that break-in 4 months ago at the Hendersons' place? Nothing was taken. Case went cold." Williams's brow furrowed. That break-in happened right after Sergeant Henderson bumped his SGLI coverage to $1 million. He leaned back in his chair, eyes narrowing. "You thinking this wasn't just about the affair?" "I'm thinking," Williams said slowly. "They were planning something bigger, waiting for him to deploy again." At Chicago Med, Keisha recovered under watch. 2 uniformed officers stood guard outside her room. Williams entered quietly, her parents still seated nearby. "Mrs. Henderson," he said, "we need to talk." Keisha looked small beneath the white hospital sheets, her left arm bandaged and braced. "I already told the other officers what happened." "You told them about the affair," Williams replied. "Now let's talk about the insurance policy. And those texts about your husband's deployment schedule." Her skin went pale. At Cook County Jail, Malik received his first visitor, his younger brother Michael Henderson, a bus driver for the CTA. "Man, what the hell?" Michael said through the plexiglass. "I had to hear about this on the damn news." "How's Mama taking it?" Malik asked quietly. "How you think?" "She's at church right now, praying with the pastor. They're organizing support for your defense." "Tell her not to bother," Malik muttered. "I did what I did." Michael leaned forward. "Listen, bro, people out here riding for you. Even Keisha's co-workers from the salon, saying she did you dirty. Your army boys started a GoFundMe for your legal defense. This ain't over." But Malik barely heard him. "You know what's crazy?" he said, voice low. "In Afghanistan, every night I dreamed of coming home to her. Mortars falling, sandstorms howling. Thinking of Keisha kept me alive. And now, I wish I'd never come back." Detective Williams kept digging. The picture shifted with every clue. Bank records showed large cash deposits into Keisha's personal account. Jaleel's deleted text referenced, "taking care of the soldier problem." "They were planning to kill him," Williams told Thompson. "Probably during his next deployment. Make it look like a war zone accident." "So what now?" she asked. "He still killed 2 people." "1 person," Williams corrected. "Keisha's alive. And once she stabilizes, we're charging her with conspiracy to commit murder." The news dropped like a bomb on Chicago's South Side. At Super Clean Car Wash, employees lit candles and shared stories about Jaleel. Most had no idea he was involved with Keisha or anything darker. At Sharp Cut Salon, the reaction was split. Some defended Keisha, saying Malik had been absent too long. Others, like Shanice, felt sick. "She sat right there," Shanice told reporters, pointing to Keisha's styling chair, talking about how much she missed Malik, How proud she was of him. Meanwhile, she was plotting with her side dude to kill him. That's cold. Public opinion flipped fast. Wife and side dude planned to kill soldier for insurance payout. Homecoming horror. War vet foils his own murder by coming back early. As a brutal heat wave baked the city, Williams stood before a room full of reporters at CPD headquarters. What started as a tragic domestic incident, he announced, was actually part of a carefully orchestrated criminal conspiracy. Evidence revealed that Keisha and Jaleel had met secretly at night, usually at the car wash. Wire transfers connected her to offshore accounts. A laptop found in Jaleel's car contained internet searches for untraceable poisons and accidents that could mimic battlefield deaths. In the hospital, Keisha finally cracked under pressure. "It wasn't supposed to be like this," she sobbed to Detective Williams. Jaleel said it would be clean. Quick. Malik wouldn't suffer. The insurance money would set us up for life. "So you were going to have your husband killed?" Williams asked as the tape recorder rolled. "For a payday?" "You don't understand," she whispered. "The deployments, they change him. He had flashbacks. He'd wake up screaming. Sometimes didn't even recognize me. I was scared of him. Jaleel promised to protect me. But her version didn't match the records. Malik's psychological evaluations were clean. His file showed no history of PTSD or violent behavior. Neighbors described him as quiet, respectful, polite. Back at the salon, Shanice gave investigators another layer. "Keisha changed when she met Jaleel," she said. "Started showing up with designer bags, talking about wanting more excitement. One time I overheard them arguing. She wanted to wait. He wanted something to happen sooner." The conspiracy widened. Jaleel's cousin, an employee at an insurance firm, had helped fast-track Malik's policy increase. A former cellmate of Jaleel's was caught trying to buy untraceable weapons. Meanwhile, Malik sat in silence, barely speaking even to his lawyer. Patricia Morris stood firm before the media. "My client is a decorated soldier who returned home to find armed intruders in his bedroom. He acted to defend his life. The fact that they were plotting his murder only strengthens our case." Chicago's veteran community rallied. Fundraisers, rallies, and prayer vigils spread across the city. Even Calvin Morrison, Keisha's father, made a public statement. "We failed to see what our daughter had become," he said outside the hospital. "Malik served his country with honor. She betrayed everything, her vows, her family, basic decency." Then the final blow hit. On Jaleel's phone, investigators uncovered video recordings, insurance, in case Keisha turned on him. In one video, taken in their bedroom 2 months earlier, they plotted. Keisha said, "It has to look natural. In combat, anything could happen." Jaleel responded, "My guy can make it look like friendly fire. Cost extra, but untraceable." And then Keisha said, "Whatever it takes. I can't do another year pretending to be the proud military wife." The evidence was clear. The state's attorney's office charged Keisha Henderson with conspiracy to commit first-degree murder, solicitation of murder, and insurance fraud. Several of Jaleel's associates were also indicted on related offenses. Given the mounting evidence of a murder plot, Malik's case progressed swiftly toward resolution. Prosecutors agreed to reduce the charges to voluntary manslaughter, citing that Jaleel's death, while tragic, occurred during the commission of felony in which he was an active participant. Mr. Henderson's actions, while severe, were influenced by a credible and immediate fear for his life, the state's attorney announced. The Cook County Criminal Courthouse buzzed with tension as Keisha Henderson's preliminary hearing began. She entered in a wheelchair, her left arm still in a sling, dressed in county-issued beige scrubs, far from her usual designer wardrobe. Malik sat in the gallery, flanked by his brother Michael and their mother, Gloria Henderson, a retired postal worker who hadn't missed a single day of court. Malik had been released on electronic monitoring, a decision the prosecution did not contest, citing his cooperation and decorated military record. Assistant State's Attorney Kara Martinez stood before the judge and laid out the prosecution's case. "Your Honor, the evidence will show that the defendant, along with her now-deceased co-conspirator, executed a calculated and deliberate plan to murder her husband for financial gain. This was not an affair gone wrong. This was a target conspiracy to eliminate a U.S. soldier. The evidence was staggering. Investigators recovered deleted emails discussing multiple murder scenarios. One particularly damning message from Keisha to Jaleel read, "Next deployment is in September. That's our window. After that, we're set for life." Financial records revealed Keisha had already spent portions of Malik's combat pay-on gifts for Jaleel, including the custom rims on his black Chrysler. She'd also opened new credit cards in Malik's name while he was overseas. Detective Williams testified about the level of detail in the plot. They had multiple plans in place, he told the court. Plan A involved staging an accident during deployment. Plan B involved contracting individuals overseas. They even explored methods to make it appear like Taliban crossfire. During cross-examination, Keisha's public defender attempted to paint her as a victim manipulated by Jaleel, but the recordings told a different story. In one video, Keisha's voice was clear, agitated. "We need to stop talking and just do it. I'm tired of playing the doting wife every time he FaceTimes. Tired of hearing him talk about our future when I want mine with you." The testimony that drew gasps came from Shanice, her former friend and co-worker at Sharp Cut Salon. "She changed after Jaleel came around," Shanice said. "Started taking long breaks, showing off jewelry, bragging about money. One time, she laughed about Malik sending her cash for their anniversary, said he was basically paying for their dates." During a court recess, Gloria leaned over to her son and whispered, "Baby, I know this hurts, but God brought you through war for a reason. He brought you home early for a reason." Malik only nodded, expression stoic. The only crack in his composure came when surveillance footage from his home was played, the same cameras he'd installed to protect Keisha while deployed. The video showed Keisha and Jaleel entering the house multiple times over several months, often overnight. But the most chilling evidence came from the backyard camera, capturing them on the porch, smoking and casually discussing murder. Keisha, "Too risky here. It has to be overseas." Jaleel, "My guy says Afghanistan's perfect. Shit goes wrong there all the time." Keisha, "Just make sure the policy's active and make it clean. He deserves that much." Keisha broke down, sobbing uncontrollably, prompting the judge to call a recess. Her parents left the courtroom in tears, seated far from Malik's family. The hearing concluded with Keisha ordered held without bail, the judge citing the gravity of the charges and the overwhelming evidence. Meanwhile, Malik's case moved toward resolution. Prosecutors offered a plea deal: plead guilty to involuntary manslaughter, serve 5 years of probation, attend mandatory counseling, and maintain no contact with Keisha or Jaleel's family. His attorney advised taking the deal. "If I take it, I'm admitting I did something wrong," Malik told her. "Did I? A man broke into my house with a gun, plotting to kill me, and I'm the one apologizing?" The plea hearing took place on a rainy Tuesday morning. The courtroom overflowed, veterans in uniform, church members, family, media. Even some of Keisha's old clients were there to support Malik. Judge Miranda addressed him directly. "Sergeant Henderson, before accepting this plea, I want to ensure you understand its terms. This court recognizes the extraordinary circumstances, but taking a life, under any condition, is a serious matter." Malik stood tall, his military discipline unmistakable. "Yes, Your Honor, I understand." The plea was read into the record. Involuntary manslaughter, 5 years probation, counseling, and no contact with involved parties. Before accepting, Judge Shin made a rare and powerful statement. The court notes that while the defendant's actions led to fatality, they occurred in response to a documented conspiracy to end his life. Given his service record, clean history, and the nature of this case, the court grants judicial mercy. Malik was fingerprinted one last time and released. Outside, reporters shouted questions. "Sergeant Henderson, do you regret coming home early? Do you have a message for your wife? Will you return to duty?" He said nothing, walking straight to his mother's car, surrounded by family like a human shield. 2 weeks later, Keisha's trial began. She had rejected all plea deals against her lawyer's advice. Each day brought more damning evidence. Text coaching Jaleel on Malik's schedule, phone calls to offshore banks, testimony from Jalil's cousin about forging insurance documents, and footage of the meeting with a known hitman. The prosecution's closing argument struck like a dagger. This is not a tale of infidelity. This is not a marriage that unraveled. This is a story of greed. While Sergeant Henderson risked his life in defense of this country, his wife plotted his execution. She waved goodbye at the airport and prayed he'd never return. The jury deliberated for just 4 hours. Verdict: guilty on all counts. At sentencing, Judge Chin delivered her judgment with icy precision. Mrs. Henderson, you betrayed your vows, your family, and common decency. You sought to murder the very man who honored and protected you. You are hereby sentenced to 25 years in the Illinois Department of Corrections. Keisha's sobs echoed as she was led away. Her parents exited the courtroom without a word. The aftermath rippled across Chicago's South Side. Sharp Cut Salon temporarily closed, later reopening under new management. Shanice launched her own salon, Loyalty First. Jalil's car wash empire was dismantled to satisfy lawsuits. His children from a previous relationship received most of the proceeds. Malik accepted a medical discharge from the Army with full benefits. He began therapy at the VA and eventually became a speaker for veteran support groups, focusing on trauma, betrayal, and healing. The house, where it all happened, sold quickly below market value. The new owners gutted the master bedroom and replaced the blood-soaked floors. 1 year later, Malik sat alone in his new apartment, divorce papers on the table in front of him. His hand hovered over the signature line, flooded with memories: high school prom, wedding day, the homecomings, the kisses goodbye. His phone buzzed. A text from his VA counselor. Group meets at 7. You coming? He signed the papers. Outside, Chicago continued its eternal rhythm. Buildings rose, hearts broke, lives moved forward. But in certain quiet moments, in the stillness between heartbeats, the echoes remained. Gunshots on a summer night, a soldier betrayed, a homecoming that came too soon, and a wife whose plan came too late. If this story moved you, there's so much more to uncover. The secrets, the betrayal, the heartache that hides behind the faces we trust most. Subscribe now to never miss the drama, the emotion, and the untold truths. Join the journey. Hit that button and be part of the next stories. This is Ruthless Realities. Until next time.